All right. Welcome, everybody, to a Toxic Recap. We're going to talk about Mayor of Kingstown, the Paramount Plus show that is just finished its third season after star and frontrunner Jeremy Renner returned after a disastrous real world accident in which he almost lost the use of his leg. I'm joined today by the Northern English bastard. How are you, my friend?
Hello, you beautiful bastards. Yes,
Oh,
I'm doing fine.
I just went from 6 to midnight listening to you talk like that. God damn, it's so sexy. So anyway, yeah, this is Mayor of Kingstown, and for the uninitiated, it is a Paramount Plus TV show premiered in 2021. It is about a couple of brothers that run a kind of off the books business that they keep the peace in between the prisons, which is the local industry in this made up town in Michigan called Kingstown, the local gangs, and the police. And kind of excited to talk about it. We're going to mostly focus on season one today. We might touch a little bit on season two and three, and we'll let you know when spoilers are abound. So, yeah, Mayor of Kingstown, and let's get into it. Here comes the intro.
Riding on the wings of destruction, a toxic presence, a lord of corruption, polluting the ocean, spreading decay. The tops turning black, going in the rain, searing through the sand.
I've got balls of steel.
Ooh, you're goddamn right, I do. Anyway, so impressions, Northern English bastard. What is your impressions of the show thus far?
If scumbag you can't help but hang out with, but shouldn't was a human form, Mayor of Kingstown would definitely be it.
Interesting take. I like that. So, what is it? So anyway, for the uninitiated, I don't know why you'd be watching this if you haven't watched the show. But so over on the left, you have character actor. Oh, for the fuck's sakes, what his name is?
Gal Chandler.
Kyle Chandler. Thank you. A lot of people would
Mm.
know him from the TV version of that football TV show that people seem to like. And I've known him from various projects over the years. I first saw him way back when in the 80s on an excellent TV drama called Tour of Duty, which was a Vietnam TV show. If you haven't seen it, that's so good. And he's popped up, here and there. He's always a dependable, great character actor. On the right of the screen is, of course, Jeremy Renner. These are the McCluskey brothers, Mike and Mitch. Mike being played by Jeremy Renner, Mitch being played by Kyle Chandler. Like I said in before the opening, they run a business which just is basically bagmen. A bagman is like a pseudo criminal that deals with other criminals to kind of keep things on an even keel. And effectively, that's what they do. And it's a family business, and they've been doing it for years. Their father did it before them. And yeah, it's this fake town in Michigan where the big industry, kind of like the town I live here in Kansas, the big industry is the Department of Corrections. And in order to keep things running smoothly, they make kind of backdoor deals between both the police and the gangs that are on the peripheral of the prison system. So mostly going to be talking about season one, and you said your impressions thus far are pretty positive of season one.
Yeah, he's a very good show. I mean, Nolan's really an all-round good guy. Even the main character, Jeremy Renner, is kind of dodgy, but you still sympathise with him because he is basically the lesser of the various warring evils that are in this
Mm,
fucking prison city.
hmm Yeah. Play a little bit of the Paramount. Let us get away with it. I'm going to play a little bit of this.
We don't break the law, Ma. You know that.
So basically, what they do is, among other things, they might run drugs inside the facility to do different favors. They actually have an office on the outskirts of the town of Kingstown, and people usually that are having family members or friends that are locked up are inside any one of the various facilities. They'll come to the brothers for help. So a lot of what we see happen even in the first episode informs on the rest of the season. So that being said, and again, I don't know why you'd be watching this if you haven't seen the show, but let me real quick pull this up. And I don't know, apologize for not having this ready. But here we go. Oh, not there. Anyhow, so this character right here, oh, hold on. I missed it. The stripper character, I don't remember her name. It's not important that you remember it. The story kicks off with apparently she is the girlfriend of the main antagonist, which is Milo, who is some sort of Russian gangster, played by Scottish actor
Yeah,
Aidan
Aidan Gillen.
Gillen. You might know him from Game of Thrones. You might know him from Batman, The Dark Knight Rises. I don't really know where you might know him from. So he's got some money stashed. She comes in, speaks to Mitch, the older brother, the quote unquote mayor of Kingstown, who, sidebar, got that name because even though he's not the actual mayor, he is kind of de facto runs the city by keeping everything quiet. And it's just kind of an unofficial name. But yeah, so he sends his stripper girlfriend in and tells her to have Mitch go retrieve some cash that they've got stashed. They do so. I don't remember. It's like 500 grand or something like that. And this one of her scumbag customers played here. This guy, I couldn't find any slides of him. So some kind of Latino pseudo gangster meth head breaks into her apartment, sexually assaults her, kills her, takes the money, or takes the map to the money. Excuse me, I'm sorry, and basically questions her on, what is this for and that kind of thing. And apparently, it doesn't show it, but apparently she does, in fact, give it up of, where that is, and that sort of kicks our story off and sends us into what we see for the rest of the season. So spoiler alert. I thought I had a slide that said spoilers. Hang on a second. Okay, I thought I had a slide that said spoilers, but guess what? I'm just going to say spoilers. So what ensues is that the dopehead Latino gangster shows up to the office where Mitch is at, and Mitch has had the money hidden in one of the safes, and he's happy to give it up because it just belongs to a gangster, not him. It's not his problem. He's just a bagman middleman. He executes Mitch without warning. And now, if you were somebody that had just popped on the show and looked at it for the first time, you'd go, well, if it's Mayor Kingstown, why do they keep showing Jeremy Renner? Well, it's shown pretty early on, I think near the latter half of the first episode, that the reason why is because Kyle Chandler is going to be no more, and Jeremy Renner is going to be the new mayor of Kingstown. And they bring in the Special Forces SWAT team led by Robert, who is basically the SWAT commander of the Kingstown Police. And without really any kind of preamble, they get the gangster who's sitting on his couch getting high with the dope money and everything else, and just straight up executes him in a badass baller scene, which kind of sets off what you're going to see for the rest of the season. So,
God bless
yeah.
Robert, you psycho.
Yeah, this guy, it's season 1 anyway. He's one of my favorite characters. So yeah, then basically Mike, Jeremy Renner's character, has the option to, kind of take over as mayor of Kingstown for the rest of season 1. His brother advises him, hey, don't do this. You don't need to get involved. The mom tells him, don't get involved. It's already killed your father and your brother. There's no reason to do this. And for whatever reason he has, it's still kind of unclear to me. He sort of has a moment in his cabin in the woods where he just decides, I'm gonna stay on and and start running the town as the mayor of Kingstown. So you want to take it over? What are your thoughts thus far?
Yeah. I always kind of thought that he had to do it because he felt if he didn't, shit would just get out of control even more.
Okay.
And you can sort of see it a little bit over his head because every time he does try to keep the peace, some of the other gangbangers get a bit too big for the boats and start fucking kicking off. And and it sometimes leads to him doing these little bus stops as well.
Bus stops?
Yeah, bus stops.
What does that mean?
Yeah, busting people up.
Oh, okay. Bus stops. Bus stops. I'm sorry.
Yeah, not bus stops.
Okay. So yeah, we have a lot going on. They introduce a lot of characters. The mom is played by Diane Wiest. She is the widow, mother of the two boys. Excuse me, I'm sorry, the three boys. Jesus, Henry Christ, I forgot they got a third brother right there, just shown right there, played by Taylor Handley, and he is actually a cop. It's sort of hinted at that possibly Mitch was a cop, and maybe he's an ex-cop or maybe an ex-lawyer. The way he handles himself kind of indicates he could have been one or the other. But yeah, it's really kind of unclear exactly what his role was before this. But what we find out about Jeremy Renner's character, Mike was actually a felon. He was actually in the prison and somehow has gotten to this position. I mean, I guess you could headcanon that he, once he got out of prison, Mitch, helped him out with that. We are to find out that he did somehow get his gun rights back. Only in the Midwest, baby, can a violent felon get his gun rights back. But he gets his gun rights back, and we find this out the hard way in episode 2 of season 1, where Mitch gets accosted by Bunny Washington, which is one of the gangsters that is the people he's trying to keep the peace with here, seen on the left. Toby Bemfta is Bunny Washington. He's is an electric character. He runs the Crips in Kingstown. So you got like the main gangs on the outside, and then you got the gangs on the inside. On the inside, gangs are segregated into basically races. So you could have Bloods and Crips on the inside, but they're basically going to what's called ride in the car together because inside economics changes. So you have to just basically ride with your color. If you're ganged up and you're white, you're going to run with the Aryans. We're going to find out later that Mike actually ran with the Aryan Brotherhoods, the biker crews and things like that, the dirty white boys of the gangs. And then of course there's the Latinos, and even though they're branched off into different gangs, Folk Nation, things like that, the gangs from down south, they all like click up together inside. So on the outside, the strongest of the gang members is Bunny. Bunny is not happy about something they're supposed to take care of, which was a situation where one of the Crips gets unceremoniously beaten to death by a guard who they were trying to blackmail, a brand new guard, and they were supposed to fix it. And of course, he couldn't fix it because Mitch was being busy being murdered over Milo's drug money. So a lot going on. And as opposed where you had in the two brothers, where you had Mitch and Mike, Mitch was more of a talker and a planner and things like that. Mike is more of a hammer. He is very intelligent, but the way that he does things is he's quick to whip somebody's ass and pull out a gun if it's necessary. I would probably gather that even though we only saw him for the first episode, I don't think Mitch even handled a weapon, which kind of leads me to think that he probably, if he was a cop, he might have been a desk cop, or maybe he like worked in the DA's office or something like that. I'm not really sure. But anywho, that aside, they wind up having kind of Bunny, the gang member, and Mike wind up having kind of an adversarial relationship at first, but then it kind of turns into almost like a pseudo friendship throughout the rest of season 1. There's lots of times where Mike kind of goes out of his way instead of just keeping the peace with everybody. It almost seems like he's mostly siding with Bunny. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I can't really say much. All I can say is that these characters really do try and give a little bit of history together with the short time we've seen them, and Yeah, even though it's like a drug deal, he probably might have done something for Mitch McCluskey once, and Mitch McCluskey was like, you're one of the good ones out of a handful of the bad people.
Hmm. Yeah, I did kind of get the impression from the way that he spoke about him, and the way that they interacted in their one interaction that we see on the show,
Mm.
that Bunny and his crew kind of had this reverence for Mitch, the older brother. The way that he speaks of him, especially after he passes, when he's speaking to Mike, is like, hey, this. I think he said something to the effect of like, "Hey, this motherfucker sure was smooth. He knew how to handle stuff." And I would assume that that was probably true. Mike, on the other hand, tends to be uh, very abrasive. He tends to handle things pretty much exactly like you think a criminal would handle a lot of the stuff. And like I said, he's got great machinations. He's very devious. He's very smart. But if he gets triggered, if something happens, no pun intended, he's quick to pull his weapon out and he's quick to beat the shit. There's a great scene in the first scene. It's my favorite scene of the show where basically Bunny is trying to blackmail or push up on Mike a little bit, and Mike just drives his car right through Bunny's
Yeah, I remember
neighborhood,
that.
pulls out, and this is after his brother's been killed, and he pulls out a couple of stun grenades. It just bashes through, gets out, cool as shit, throws the grenades into the yard. All the Crips go running, and then he pulls his gun out and just basically tells Bunny, "Hey," because he's got some sort of blackmail letter on the cop that's working inside that had assaulted one of his men. And is like, "Hey, give me the letter. I'm tired of fucking around with you." And it just shows the juxtaposition between the way that Mitch had run things and the way that Mike is now going to run things. And I get it. You have the two big dogs in the yard and they're going to fight and they're going to kind of dog sniff each other and try to figure it out. The funny thing that I liked about it was that it didn't even seem like Bunny was mad about it. It's almost like he respected it and was like, okay, like I see you. I see what you did here.
Yeah,
So yeah.
because I am kind of guessing the gangs see him as the lesser version of Mitch because, like you said, Mitch was very smart. He seemed to be a bit more diplomatic, and
Mhm.
but Mike does seem to know a little bit about how his brother operates as well because he's hung around with him long enough, but he just doesn't have that same diplomacy. He's like you said, he's the hammer.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was what he was meant to do. He wasn't really meant to negotiate and do these kind of things. But like I said, I like it. And I think it could have been a cool show to have both brothers on there. I get it. Kyle Chandler probably did not want to play second fiddle to Jeremy Renner. I really don't know what the reasonings were.
No, I
That
don't think he would have done. I think it would have been a really good little kind of playing in contrast to each other.
Yeah,
Mitch being the
yeah,
diplomat, the one
yeah.
who's trying to think his way through, while Mike is a bit more. Well, they're taking a piss. Let's teach him a fucking lesson.
Yes. Yeah, I would have really liked that to see, like an episode by episode thing go by where, they have a choice between doing something violent and explosive, and that's how Mike wants to do it, as opposed to Mitch going, "No, no, no, we got a smooth way that we can try to say." But again, I mean, I don't know how that would have worked with two showrunners, although it would have been really cool. And maybe they couldn't get Kyle Chandler for more than that, or maybe they just like the idea of making you think that Kyle Chandler is the main character, and then unceremoniously blowing his brains out in his own office. I really don't know. I'm not sure what the logic was behind that. I think it would have been a completely different show moving forward if he'd have had both of those guys. But
It does put Mike it does put Mike in a bit more of a vulnerable position, so it does raise the tensions up a little bit, though. So yeah, I think maybe it was a good call just to have Mike as the main broker.
Mike being vulnerable in the way that he doesn't have the suave, good
Yeah,
interpersonal skills that Mitch had. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, a little bit, yeah, because it probably gives more excuse for the gangs to go a bit more fucking chaotic, doesn't it? So now you got Mike in a between a rock and a hard place here.
Hmm. Okay. I like that. Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of that. I did often wonder watching season one, and they do bring it up, and I like that. It's very, very good writing. one of the times that Mike interacts with one of the head prison guards, that's one of the, I guess, lieutenants or sergeants. He says, he tells him to do something. I think he tells him to lock all the inmates down to kind of remind them of who's in charge. And the guard says something to the effect of like, I'm not sure this is a good idea. That's not how Mitch would have handled it. And yet they do it. It's very, very interesting watching this guy that's this former felon, and a shot caller, no less. A shot caller is like one of the main head gang members. They don't have a specific rank, but inside prison, they basically are, running the show of that particular gang. So whether that be the Aryans, the blacks, or the Hispanics. And apparently that's what Mike did while he was inside. And that's pretty interesting when you figure out that, his brother was either a lawyer or a cop, and his other brother is definitely a cop, and he managed to go inside. By the way, you never, through all seasons, and we're finished with season 3, we never find out what it was that Mike did to get into prison. We don't know how that occurred, and we don't know 100% how he's come to be in the position that he is now, where he's working with his brother and stuff like that. And then all the cops and the prison guards will actually like listen to him. And we know why the inmates would, we know that why the gangs would, but why the cops and stuff like that, up to and including the point where, they actually have Mitch, as the story progresses, tensions get worse and worse in season 1. And unfortunately, through a course of maybe bad management with the prison asks the inmates to do a thing halfway through the season, which is to murder a tweaker. And what follows after that is that all of the inmates, black, white, Hispanic, all start asking for more and more favors. And that those have repercussions and winds up in kind of a big, well, after a few different things happen, a big prison riot, which they ask Mike to kind of intervene in and try to stop. So yeah, I mean, I think you watch this, and I don't know about you, but season 1, I definitely could feel this leading to like a big prison riot. Um, how big it got was pretty astounding. But I definitely saw that coming. What about you?
Yeah, you can just feel the fucking tension straight away. I mean, every time he's in a position where he's talking to some gang member in prison or outside the prison, I always feel something's going to kick off. Something is always going to kick off. You get that. It's like when someone actually goes up to you and you start to feel your adrenaline rush a little bit. It was kind of like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, it goes through the course of the season. Mike kind of sort of finds his footing with what he's doing. The biggest issue becomes this issue right here, which is Milo, the Russian gangster who's still in prison but kind of running things out in the free world, tasks this chick Iris, who is a high class uh, escort that works for him. He basically owns, and decides, well, and he even tells one of his subordinates, we can't go at Mike, this brother, the way that we went at Mitch. He's not going to negotiate with us. He's not going to. But if we want him to do the things we want him to do, we have to kind of go at him a different way. So they send her in, and to sort of, I don't know. I'm not really sure what the purpose is. I do know what the result is. The result was she does definitely get in Mike's head, but not in the way that they thought. Mike sort of gets a fatherly or older brother love towards her, but it never escalates in any kind of sexual or romantic thing, which is what Milo was hoping for. But the end results are still the same. And of course, she's the most insufferable character I've seen on a
Oh
TV
yeah, it's
show.
fucking hell. Don't remind me.
She's the most insufferable character on a TV show since Lori in season 2 of The Walking Dead. I mean, she is just the worst. And if I'm being really honest, every single female on the show is insufferable. From the mom, from they have a black female gangster that they use to get at the prison guard inside. I don't know if I got a slide of her. I thought I did. Um, uh, every single person that's on this show, every single female that's on this show is horrible. Bunny is somehow connected to this woman right here. She's in the female prison in Kingstown, and they get her to go at the prison guard that kind of kicked off all the bullshit that happens. And they get her to kind of subjugate him in some way. And what ends in it winds up they have sex. She calls it sexual assault, and then of course, unalives him inside the prison. So yeah, that stuff happening, prison guards getting killed, escalates into retaliation with the prison guards. The inmates out on the street start retaliating against cops out on the street. It starts to get worse and worse, growing beyond Mike's control, and ultimately their main prison, the big prison, winds up in a huge riot near. Also, it's hinted at that Milo, the Russian gangster, may have kind of fanned the flames a little bit. So what's your thoughts on Milo and his and Russian antagonist?
Yeah, he is actually very, very creepy. Like, he always, every time he's on screen, this guy's in control. Even if he's not in control, he'll give that impression that he is in control. And he never raises his voice whatsoever. He always looks like he's got
No.
a plan.
Yeah. Good point. Good point. Yeah, he always just has this quiet demeanor. He's almost like if his character from Game of Thrones and Hannibal Lecter fucked and had a sociopathic kid, and this is the guy that they have. And even though he's supposed to be Russian, he doesn't sound Russian when he talks.
Yeah, he sounds a little Scottish Russian, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Like fucking Sean Connery
Russian.
in there from
Yeah,
from Red
Hunt for
October.
Red October. Yeah, he's Russian by way of Glasgow. But yeah, no, he decides to one of the cool thing he does, just to speak on what you just said, he has all of his hookers implanted it with chips. And even when Mike tries to get Iris into a witness protection program, he winds up executing her FBI bodyguard team, and then she winds up getting kidnapped and then sold to the Aryans, who later sell her to the Bloods. And then somehow she finds her way back to Bunny. Bunny gives her back to Mike, and after she says what she's gone through, Mike, without hesitation, goes after the Aryans in a really surprising scene where he just goes in and just starts murking all of the Aryans.
Oh yeah, I fucking love that. I was like, yes.
and keep in mind, these are the same guys, and they bring it up multiple times. This is the crew that he ran with on the inside. But without hesitation, as soon as she tells him what they had done to her while she was being sold, he goes in there and just like decimates all of. But in doing so, that has a greater effect on what happens inside the prison, because then the balance that he's tried so hard to maintain, he can no longer maintain, because now one of the main shot callers, one of the main gangs inside the prison, is no longer operating. So then the whites become the lesser of the gangs, and they can't keep it. Only works if they keep everybody in check, if everybody has ebb and flow equal amounts of power. And that becomes a big thing in the following seasons.
Yeah, and the trouble is, it doesn't always work out because he always wants something more, don't he? Something they can't have, or he won't give them because it might upset the other fucking side. And it's and he's trying it, and you can see he's desperately trying to make both sides happy, but none are fucking having it.
Yeah. So moving forward, I know we're going to primarily discuss season 1, which obviously ends in a riot, which has great issues following the next 2 seasons, specifically the next one in season 2. But I think you said you had caught up with season 3, did you not?
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably give it another watch again, see if there's anything I missed, because because I've been having it on in the background while trying to do other things, so
Yeah,
to try and get that. Yeah,
where
get that down.
where would you rate the seasons? Like, what's your favorite? Like at 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. Where do you rate them?
I think the first season is probably a good 9 out of 10. Second season probably went down a little bit, 8 out of 10 in rating, but third season really looks like it was picking up again.
Okay, interesting. So yeah, Season 2 is basically just the fallout of the end of season 1. They wind up in what's called a camp instead of a prison because the prison is decimated. They lost hundreds of inmates and dozens of guards. What starts to occur within the camps is a bunch of payback from the guards. The guards that did survive were brutalized and in some cases sexually assaulted by the inmates. And now there's a power vacuum, and the power vacuum, of course, bleeds out onto the streets. And so season 2 has Jeremy Renner's character spending most of the time trying to put out the flames of this. He also tries to protect Iris as much as he can, but unfortunately, Iris has other ideas, and she just doesn't want to be protected. He puts her on a boat. He tries to put her back with the FBI. He tries to even take her to his own home. And all Iris wants to do is get up, leave, and go get herself in more trouble. And that culminates with her making the dumbest fucking decision and going right back to Milo, who is in hiding because at the end of season 1, he managed to use the riot as cover and do a brilliant Hannibal Lecter escape and get out of the prison. And just assume that he'll be counted amongst the dead. And so he gets to his hideaway, and she somehow finds him and decides to, hey, daddy, I missed you. I want to go back, and lets them reinsert a tracker into her, and she goes back to being a hooker. Holy shit, was that whole arc there the most infuriating thing of season 2. I was
And
like,
that's why season 2 is the weakest, in my opinion.
Yeah.
She makes it fucking weaker.
I mean, I guess I could understand now, obviously they wanted her to kind of femme fatale Mike to kind of throw him off his game or maybe coerce him in some way so they'd have some kind of a hold on him. But of course, that doesn't work. Mike is already busy getting his dick wet by the district attorney. And he's fine with it, and he doesn't find any interest in Iris. But this big brother fatherly love type thing that he has for her, it does distract him. And of course, he does make some bad moves that kind of gets himself in trouble, possibly with the law and, obviously with Milo. So in the way that, and she's certainly a distraction for him. So if that was Milo's plan the entire time, then, that, well, I guess that worked. So in that way, it's definitely something that worked for what Milo's plan was. He spends a lot of his time again behind the scenes, and as opposed to season 1 and season 2, he's sort of just in hiding. And this is also the season in which Jeremy Renner had his horrible accident. I think it's once you get into the later episodes, I think it's pretty obvious what has occurred because you see a lot more sparseness to Jeremy Renner's character because of course TV shows are shot out of order, so possibly he got injured sometime during the shooting of the show, and that's why we don't see him as much. They sort of lean into the secondary characters a lot. Hugh Dillon here, shown Detective Ian. He is Mike's brother's partner with the the Kingstown Police Department. He's got a little side story going on with a serial killer who he finds dead bodies, and that he just remembers. Played hilariously by God, I can't remember the actor's name, but the guy from The Shield who got killed by Walton Goggins' character. He plays a serial killer that Ian keeps taking around to find dead bodies. The captain from season 1, right here, played by Michael Beach. He has now been he did survive the riot from season 1, and he's been elevated to warden. The bad thing is he was apparently sexually assaulted during the riot, and then he winds up kind of really bad PTSD, messes with how he does things at work, and he makes some really, really poor decisions, including, but not limited to, going up against Mike and just contravening Mike's, ideas and plans multiple times, and trusting people that he should not trust. So, which that kind of sets up the groundwork for season 3. So, yeah, I agree with you, man. Season 2 definitely the weakest of the 3 seasons. It's definitely a big step down from season 1. I don't know if that had to do with Jeremy Renner getting injured it sort of feels like it. There's like scenes that are shot out of order, and it almost seems like there's just not enough time given to this. And then there's like a bunch of loose plot threads with Mike's brother going to the state police, but then going back to the Kingstown police and joining SWAT. There's like a subplot with the SWAT team commander Robert, who somehow he gets targeted for by all of the gangs want to target him because he led the rescue mission into the riot with his team, and they just basically what they did when there was the riot, they just went in and shot everybody, which is pretty standard. If you think there's going to be a full blown riot where guards are killed and the cops are going to come in, the cops and the National Guard are going to come in and not murk everybody, you're wrong. The first you're basically when a big riot happens, your life is forfeit, both as a guard and as an inmate. You sign a disclosure as a guard, you sign a disclosure agreement that just says you will not be, they're not going to do any kind of rescue attempts or negotiate for you. And as an inmate, it's sort of an unwritten law that, if you take up arms against the prison, then it's martial law and they'll go and cap everybody that's there. And that's pretty much exactly what they do. I thought this was a weak plot point. I don't know why they would specifically target Robert to anybody else. Up to that point, he just basically been used as the cops' hammer against, anybody that, if they wanted to get somebody dead, they'd send Robert and his team in and, they'd get the guy to, pick up the weapon and, they'd basically pull a Vic Mackey from the shield and just pop the guy. And he has a pretty bad shooting near the end of season 2, and I don't know, did you ever figure out who was it that actually put the hit out on him, that actually shot him up? Was it the Crips?
I can't remember, to be honest.
I don't know if it's
Jeez.
ever explicitly said who shot. I know he believes it is. But a lot of what Bunny Washington, a lot of what he does is it's sort of unknown to actually, you think he's being friendly with the cops and playing along, but then he does this other stuff like break into a gun store and steal the guns. But then he gives all the guns back when Mike asks him to. I mean, did he do that just to win favor with Mike, or but then later we find out that him and his gang kept a bunch of the guns. So it's really unclear exactly, he's sort of an enigma. He's very, very hard to kind of figure out, this guy. He seems like he's just some big dumb gangster, but he's actually a lot smarter. And again, that's why I think Mike leans on him so hard. But
Yeah,
yeah, that
yeah, probably because the Aryan guys, they seem to be much more psychopathic and sadistic, while Bunny seems a little bit more human compared to him, and a little bit more like you can still hang out with this guy and not worry about him fucking killing you as much as the others.
yeah, yeah, and there's some other stuff that happens. Bunny gets Mike to take his little brother to go play hockey, and some of the rednecks in there try to beat up the little brother, and Mike jumps in, and this kind of endears himself to Bunny and his family. There seemed to be like a loose thread plot of I want to say she's like the cousin of Bunny, owns like a head shop, where she does hair and stuff like that, and she seems to be flirting pretty heavily with Mike, and I thought that might be a potential romantic thing, but by the time we get to season 3, which is the season that just ended, um, nothing really comes of it. So in season 3, it's assumed that the events of season 2 led to Milo being dead. Also, unfortunately, or fortunately, because she is sort of a nothing burger character, Diane Weist, who plays the McCluskey's mom, she winds up getting killed. Uh, the little brother has officially joined the SWAT team. The SWAT team commander, who was survived an attempted assassination in season 1, or the end of season 2 rather. He's okay, but he's suffering some really bad PTSD. And of course, the big question: who is going to be the big bad of season 3? And how is Jeremy Renner going to perform? And I think right off the bat, he comes out swinging. And there's a great scene where he's like, he takes out these 2 guys with the new Aryan group, and he's like, welcome to Kingstown, which I thought was really badass, and it was like a really cool way of saying, hey, yeah, I know I got injured in real life, but I'm back, and I'm running the show, so everything's good. Um, We
Yeah,
get a
because I
couple.
think season two, like you said, probably did suffer because of the accident, so they had to rewrite a few scenes where people that were supposed to interact with him couldn't. Like maybe Iris went back to her abusers because there were probably some scenes where she was with Jeremy Renner a lot, so they rewrote her and never go back because Jeremy Renner was recovering. I don't
Oh,
know,
that's
but
a good
I'm
point.
guessing that's what happened.
No, that's a good point. I didn't think of that being the reason. Maybe that's why the Iris thing went off the rails the way that it did. We get introduced to a couple new characters. The chick on the right, she was in Ray Donovan, playing Ray Donovan's wife, and she was
She's been in
also
Lord. She's been in Deadwood, Sons of Anarchy.
Deadwood as the
Yeah,
hooker. She has a pretty small little thing where I guess what was the deal? Somebody was stalking her or had
yeah. I think
assaulted
she
her.
mentioned that someone. Yeah, and I can't remember. Was she trying to? She said that someone was in jail for, her and
I'm wanting to say it's
did he
somebody
kill
that like
someone she loved? I can't
yeah, I
remember.
think someone murdered her son or daughter.
Yeah,
Was getting out of prison and then was starting to harass her. She takes it upon herself to get a weapon and kill the guy. And she winds up in prison. And really, nothing comes of this. So I guess this is presumably set up to be a big plot point in season 4. Um, because she's a pretty big actress to have like, but she only gets like 2 episodes, so it's sort of just hinted at. I hope it's not another loose plot thread thing. And then the kid on the left is one of the rookie prison guards, and a little by the book type character. But we are going to find out that he actually is one of Bunny Washington's implants, and he's decided to infiltrate the prison so that Bunny can sort of establish control. Keeping in mind the Aryans are still suffering from loss of leadership. They bring back a character that Mike has known through previous interactions. He comes in, and again, he's sort of a nothing character as well. I don't even know what his name is. He comes in, and we get a replacement for Milo in the form of Constantine, and he's supposed to be Russian too, but he's played by some Norwegian or Swedish actor, and he sounds nothing but Swedish and Norwegian. So this show's not super great with accents with who they bring in. So yeah, this guy seen there. Those two are the big bads. The Aryans form an alliance with the new Russian gangsters, and they go up against the blacks. The Latinos are kind of left out of the whole equation, which is interesting because they were such a big noise in the first season. Um, Mike right away makes his presence known with the new Russian gangster. There's a shot caller left inside that is best friends with Bunny. He's running the inside while Bunny runs the outside. And Bunny really goes hard consolidating his control in this season. There's a couple other subplots involving the little brothers, uh, you know, going a deep dive into being a SWAT team operator, and that's very different than being a detective. I don't know how realistic that is because that usually doesn't happen that way, but it's neither here nor there. It's so the plot can happen. And then his wife is a nurse in the prison, and she stumbles upon a thing that's going on where the women are being sexually assaulted, and uh, the some of the guards are the ones that are actually doing it, and that brings her, she starts getting in trouble with the prison guards, and that plot doesn't really go anywhere either.
yeah,
Um,
it does. It really does. There's a lot that doesn't go nowhere.
yeah,
There's the old plot with Robert as well, who's had some snitch report on him, grass him
yeah,
up, leading to the serial killer being used as something to threaten the snitch with, and who
yeah.
gets killed anyway. It's yeah,
That's interesting, and I did like that. I think
yeah,
that
no,
would have been. I think that would have been. That almost seems like they had that filmed and set up for season 3, and then they plopped it into season 2 after Jeremy Renner's accident. It does come back up again. Detective Ian takes the serial killer guy, the guy from Sons of Anarchy and The Shield, and he has some sort of mental disability. Buys him cheeseburgers and says, "Hey, I'll buy you a cheeseburger if you show me where one of your victims is." And in order to kind of threaten a prison guard or a cop that's going to be telling on the SWAT team guy, Robert, for possible things that he did wrong in the riot, it's never really made clear what he's going to be telling on him for. Um, uh, he tries to threaten him, and then the serial killer accidentally kills him. So that becomes a subplot, a pretty interesting one that leads to, Detective Ian just basically taking the guy out on one of their little hamburger find a victim missions and just blowing him away in the back of the car. So that leads into another subplot, which is basically the DA is looking into it. The DA that Mike has been sleeping with, and she's going to kind of have a hard on for Robert. Again, it's not really made clear why Robert becomes the focus of both the gangs and the administration's ire. It's really not made clear because it doesn't. He's just a SWAT team guy. Everything that he does is based on stuff that they're telling him to do. So that's not super made clear. I think that's a little weak writing on Taylor Sheridan's part, but you know what? It's definitely an enjoyable season. And then Iris just keeps doing what Iris does. Boy, she really cranks her fucking shit up to 11 in this season. So I guess the idea is that she's going to get in close with the new Russian gangster and use their previous relationship to kind of get information from Mike. She does so, but at every turn she subverts Mike. Every single thing she does is make things more and more difficult, and she has this like kind of smarmy attitude about it, like, I know what I'm doing, I'm super hip, blah blah blah. And she has multiple ways to get out. Mike wants to set her up and get her out of town for her safety, and even the Russian gangster wants to give her a new identity and set her up and get her out of town. um and then they kind of near the end of the season kind of pull uh, uh, a return of Palpatine, kind of, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Milo pops back in, and now he's the big. In the last two episodes, he becomes the big bad again, uh, and kind of takes Constantine, the new Russian gangster, and Iris hostage, and makes them play a game of, here's what's going to happen, or I'm going to kill everybody,
Yeah,
type thing.
yeah. The
Um,
town's not big enough for two bad Russian accented gangsters.
Right. What's your thoughts on the overall structure of? I mean, I already know what you think about season two. It
Even
was
like you said, it does still go a little bit all over the place, and even the whole Robert telling Mike, say, what's the name of his younger brother again? I forgot now.
It's Mitch is the older brother. Mike is Jeremy Renner, and then it's for fuck's
Yeah,
sakes,
because
Wes.
he's kind of the Boy Scout compared to him, but even he's got a
Kinda,
yeah,
kinda.
yeah,
Yeah, he's I mean, he has his problems, certainly, but, they kinda play into some idea that they didn't really do in the first 2 seasons where the younger brother, played by he's Kyle,
yeah. Kyle,
where
okay,
Kyle is supposed to be the good one, and that's why everybody's always looking out for him and his wife, Tracy, all the time. Yeah, I didn't really buy that. I didn't really buy that.
yeah, because there's a bit where Robert's telling Cal that you need to when shit goes down, you need to figure out whose side you're on, ours or your brothers. And I'm like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah, that like why would he ever side against his brother? Forget for the second that he's the de facto mayor of Kingstown and running shit. Why would he ever go with you? Like that made no sense. Robert's kind of turned to the dark side at the end of season 3 where he just wants to murk everybody is really like I don't know, it's really out of character. Um
Yeah, no, I mean, I knew he was a bit of a fucking hard ass, but a full on psychopath.
yeah,
I don't know.
really weird. So they make some interesting choices. I did like the subversion of. I didn't like the subplot with the chick from Deadwood and Ray Donovan, but I did like the subplot where the kid was sent in by uh, Bunny in order to infiltrate the guards. I did like that a lot. I thought that was really because that I'm not gonna lie, dude, that kind of surprised me. I didn't see that coming. I thought this kid was gonna be like, like a square kid that was just uh, doing his job and trying to impress everybody, and then it turns out he's actually part of what's going on in the with Bunny taking over. I thought that was really well done. That definitely surprised me. Did it surprise you?
I missed a little bit of that because when I watched the final, I had to go on the recap just for the show. But I need to properly watch the full season all the way through. And even the recap didn't show him properly. I was like, "What the fuck? Come on!"
Yeah, yeah, he kind of comes out of nowhere, but it's one of the things that I think, as far as their writing, they actually did write correctly. Because you're supposed to think, oh, this is some square kid who doesn't really understand, and he plays that to a T. He plays this kind of like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a brand new guard. I want to do the right thing, and ingratiates himself with the new warden that had survived the riot, Kareem, and
Yeah.
in
Oh yeah,
that
he
way,
fucking gets it though, doesn't he? At the end,
yeah,
though.
yeah. And again, there's more stuff. I mean, you could chalk it up to his PTSD from the riot, but there seems to be no reason for Kareem to be going really head to head with Mike as much as he does. And it gets to the point where Mike actually has to blackmail him and be like, "Listen, quit fucking subverting my decisions and quit." Like it's like, "Listen, I know you killed a couple of the inmates in there, and I know you got raped, and I'm sorry. Get over it or retire." Because you're getting in my way and you're causing a bunch of problems. Because a lot of what Mike has to do depends on the cooperation of the Kingstown police and to a greater degree the corrections officers. And Kareem starts becoming a major difficulty to the point where he's even telling some of his officers, "Don't listen to this guy. He's not the real mayor of Kingstown. He's just a thug. He's a former inmate." And I was like, man, why is this guy? I think I even messaged you when I watched that episode. I'm like, why is this guy going so hard? Um,
Yeah,
and
I don't think I hate this character still, like, because they've got a good actor playing it.
Oh, he's great. Yeah, he's
He
always
is. He's very
reliable.
good.
Yeah, I first saw him way back in like '88 when he was in Internal Affairs playing actually the rookie cop, playing what this guy in the back actually is. He playing a rookie cop, not knowing any better, and winds up, which I think I'd be willing to bet that's probably what they based what we're supposed to think the young kid here is. But yeah, Kareem makes some horrible decisions, and then just he seems like he loses his family. The wife and the kids move out. He can't come to terms with what happened with the riot and the fact that he was sexually assaulted, and it just kind of culminates in him outing the kid as a spy and then walking into the yard where all the Aryans are with no protection and allowing himself to be shivved, which is crazy, crazy, crazy. Really heartbreaking scene actually, because up to that point I'd been kind of disgusted with him, but then when he does that, I knew exactly what he was doing when he was doing it. He'd been playing lollipop with a service revolver, trying to decide if he was going to take himself out, and I guess he decided he wanted to go out, you know, in the trenches, with the other inmates and stuff like that. So weird decision, but ultimately, I get it. Pretty tragic, but anyway. So yeah, man. And then one of the best things, we get rid of Milo finally. We also get rid of Constantine because Milo has, uh, what's her name, Iris, put a gun to the back of his head and blow his brains out. He wound up being a nothing burger of a character. You think he was supposed to be, this guy with all this great control but he really was nothing compared to Milo, which
I
is
know he
why,
started off. He started off really well. I mean, he kills this
yeah,
fucking pregnant hooker, this hooker with a baby
yeah,
because she was
yeah,
playing both sides, and
right.
yeah, there is a. I kind of wonder if Taylor Sheridan had other people doing the writing that he wasn't aware of that took over maybe, and
Yeah,
added all
I
this other stuff.
I wonder that, and then I kind of also wonder if it's more like what you said with Jeremy Renner's accident. Did that throw everything off, and they had to like change storylines and stuff? Because like I've said, like the loose thread thing, the female friend or cousin of Bunny that ran the head shop, legitimately, she gets killed in a drive by what I assume is the Aryans working for the Russians. I think that's what that was about. They
Yeah, so
never
maybe
make
they
it.
tried to write themselves out of a corner, but then ended up
Yeah,
getting thrown into another corner.
yeah. And then yeah, like that plot doesn't really go anywhere with this new Constantine. He's just too soft spoken and doesn't really it doesn't really come off as anything. So yeah, they do the whole somehow Palpatine return and they bring Milo back. Milo comes in and gets Iris to kill him. Then, in yet another thing with her, they give her the money and the fake IDs to go start a new life someplace else. Milo gives it to her now. Jeremy Renner says, "Forget about this town, forget about me, get out of here." And what does she do? Go get on
Fucking
the
kills
bus
herself.
and fucking kills herself.
I know.
Takes a cyanide tablet or something and just kills herself. And I'm
But
like,
yeah, 'cause that was a kind of a thread in the story as well. Like prisoners just taking these fucking drugs and they're all fucking convulsing on the floor as well, and it's
yeah.
all going on.
So what was even the point of all of that? You know, she's just everything she did was so infuriating. So yeah, season 3 ends with like a lot of dead characters. Also ends in a big gunfight on the bridge in Kingstown between the Russians and the black gangsters run by Bunny, who's now kind of consolidated control over, I think, the Bloods and the Crips, because he seems to have both gangs on his side. Basically, all the black gangs are under Bunny now. Um, to go up against the Aryans and the Russians. And they get in this huge gunfight on the bridge. SWAT comes in to stop it. And by now, Robert's completely gone off the rails. And he's going to kill like an innocent man trying to protect his family. And Kyle, the younger brother who's now on the SWAT team, he flags Robert. He pops him. It looks like he kills him, but apparently the aftermath was he had shot him in the neck and in the vest. And they characterize it as friendly fire, like it was a mistake as opposed to, on purpose. And now the McCluskey brothers are seriously in the deep shit with the police. Now the police don't want nothing to do with the McCluskey brothers, and Kyle is taken into custody, which is again crazy. So yeah, we have that. Season 3 basically ends with Milo's dead, Constantine's dead, Kareem is dead, the mom has been dead. Uh,
Yeah,
Iris is
Iris
dead.
is fucking dead. So yeah, who's gonna be the big bad then? I mean, I don't think it'll be Bunny.
No,
She's
I
yeah.
would, but it kind of does it not seem like it's kind of gearing up to be that way?
It could be as well, having one of his best friends be kind of be a bit of his enemy as well.
Because they've had sort of they went from adversarial to understanding to friendship and then back to adversarial to sort of nominally trusting each other. But there was a big midway through season 3, Bunny just kind of like, you're dead to me. You're on one side, I'm on another. And Jeremy Renner does his best to fix things and mend fences. But what it basically comes down to is at the end of the day, uh, you know, Bunny is a criminal, and I don't know what you would classify Jeremy Renner's character as, but he is not. And
Yeah,
that's sort of
he's like the go-between, really, isn't he? He's kind of he kind of crosses both sides of the law, doesn't he? Really?
yeah. So that's where we're left with season 3. Is there going to be a season 4? I have no idea. I've not seen anything about it being greenlit. I just feel like if there is a season 4 of the show, I think it'll be the final season, and 2, I think we're going to really see this thing shaken up. I think it's going to be a completely different show by the time we return to it for season 4.
Yeah, because
Um,
even though like season 3 bit better than season 2, there are still problems, and maybe they can redeem themselves with season 4. Season 1 is still the best in my opinion.
which one?
Season 1 is still the best in my opinion.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. So yeah, I don't think anybody can dispute that. But yeah, man. As far as that is, so that's where we're at right now, and I guess that leads us to the big question of where do we go from here? And I honestly just don't know. I don't know what's going to happen moving forward with the characters that are left. I mean, I guess we'll deal with the aftermath of Kyle shooting Robert. I guess we'll deal with the aftermath of Iris's death and all the other deaths that happen. Aside from Bunny, they've not really set up, anything. The Aryans are all but squashed. We've not heard anything from the Latinos since season 1, and the only person really that's left is Bunny. But now, of course, there is that subplot where Detective Ian is kind of looking at possibly being in trouble for killing a suspect in his own car. The DA definitely wants to go after him. Now, of course, he doesn't go at it from Ian doesn't try to make threats or do anything untowards. Apparently, you kind of get the impression that all these people actually went to high school together. The way that he talks in a familiarity with Mitch and Mike, and then also with the DA, it almost seems like they all went to the same Kingstown high school, and they're still like all in the same kind of business. At least that's how he speaks to the district attorney that Mike's been banging. So I would assume that's going to be a big plot point in season 4 if there is a season 4. But I have no idea where they're going to take it from. I didn't know that they were
Yeah,
going to take it in this
I
direction
think
for this
I
season.
think the district attorney will definitely be an adversary because she's a bit of a fucking goody two shoes, isn't she? And guys like Mike, they're gonna have goody two shoes on their asses, and I think Cal could end up being in prison, and he'll have to deal with some of the criminals that he's arrested,
Oh,
and it's
really?
going to be pretty. That's what I'm guessing.
Wow, that could be interesting.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that he would go to prison for that, for an accidental shooting, but maybe they cook something up or make it look a certain way.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe someone on Robert's team fucking frames him a bit more, tries to do a bit of influence to get him there. Who knows? But I don't know. It could be. It could. I could be wrong. And to be honest, if it doesn't sound possible, I hope it doesn't happen then.
what is your thoughts on like what if they ended the show like right here?
I kind of would be happy. I still would be happy. I would like
Would
to
you?
see one more season where they can get to probably try and sort the writing out a little bit more like they did with season 1 and maybe redeem themselves. But I'd still kind of be happy with this season ending.
Yeah. I think if they do another season, it needs to be a tighter, streamlined story like they did with season 1. And I think that the way they meander off on like subplots and stuff, they do have a lot of characters. Maybe that was the point of killing off so many at the end of this season so that we have less characters to deal with. And I'm guilty of that too. In my writing, I have a lot of characters, but I try really hard to keep the threads going and keep the story tight so that it's focused on like one thing. They seem to be kind of all in season 2, and especially in season 3, they kind of seem to be all over the map. And it kind of seems like Jeremy Renner's character Mike. It doesn't even seem like he's good at his job anymore. It seems like instead of just putting out one fire and then there's another fire, which is understandable with the nature of his job, he doesn't seem to be actually accomplishing anything. So it's like
Yeah, I
he's
think that
doing.
was kind of the point because he's taking over from his brother's job and he's kind of in over his head a little bit.
Yeah,
That might have been the point. I don't know.
he's kind of stretched thin, isn't he?
Mm.
Whereas, there was during a time when an incident got Kyle, the younger brother, suspended from the state police in season 2, it sort of seemed like Kyle and Mitch would team up. Or Mitch, excuse me, I'm sorry, Mike would team up in the way that Mitch and Mike worked together. And that seemed to be like maybe that would work. But then they go in a completely different direction in season 3, and now Kyle is with the SWAT team for whatever reason. And I feel like the only reason the dynamic worked in season 1 up to that point was the fact that you had the two brothers, the smooth, suave guy that could fix problems and talk his way out of stuff, and then the hammer of one. But again, that doesn't work when it's all you know left on Mike's shoulders. Now maybe because he doesn't have Iris to fucking worry about every other episode. Man, Jesus, man, did I
Yeah.
wanted to throw something at the TV when she's out. All they asked her to do was go shopping. That's all. They're like, hey, go pick up dinner. And she's like, okay. She's driving on a suspended license, drinking while she's driving, blows through a
Oh
stop
yeah,
sign.
fucking hell, yeah. Then she starts fucking mouthing off to the cop and
Yeah,
gets pissed off she's in jail.
yeah. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. She just does everything she possibly can to cause problems. I have no idea what that was about. I mean, except just to show that she's this wild ass character. And then they put her on the undercover mission to go hang out with her former trick, Constantine, to try to get information. I don't even know really what information she gleaned from him that was worthy of all that bullshit, except for her to get high and start banging the guy again in some way to kind of like endear herself to Mike and or make him jealous. Like I don't even know what that was all about. It makes zero sense to me.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank God she's fucking gone. I've never
Yeah, unless
celebrated.
they fucking replace her with another insufferable fucking dumb bimbo, who
Well,
knows?
see,
I hope
that's
not.
that's the thing. I really thought in season 2, the female barbershop owner, whatever, head shop owner, that's somehow related to Bunny, because she kept flirting with Mike every time he came around. I thought she was going to be the replacement, or hell, his secretary, the smoking hot black chick
Oh
that's his
yeah. Oh Jesus
secretary.
Christ! Don't get me
I,
started. She is.
I
She's
thought she
fucked
was
up.
gonna possibly be the replacement, but no, they never go anywhere with shit. The secretary, I don't even was she even in season 3?
I don't. No, I don't even think I saw her. I don't even
I,
think I saw her in
I
it.
feel like he talked to her on the phone a couple times, but I don't even remember seeing her again. Guys,
Yeah,
writers,
because
Taylor Sheridan,
they seem to have a good relationship. These two should fucking get together, and she
yeah,
seems to trust him, and he trusts her, and yeah, she's fucking banging. She is.
yeah. I don't know what in the ever loving fuck is going on in the writers' room here, but guys, listen. Hey, creators of Mayor of Kingstown, do you want? I'll give you some quality writing. I've got some great ideas. Bring me in. I'll fix this shit. I'll tighten this shit right up for your final season in season 4. I will fix this for you. But yeah, man, I don't know what was going on with that. But again, I did still enjoy it. I looked forward to it. It does the thing where it drops an episode once a week. What's your take on that? Blue Collar and I have talked about this. What's your thing? Do you prefer it when they drop all at once on a streaming service, or do you like them doling out the episodes like one a week?
Oh, I'm kind of 50-50. I don't like binging shows anymore. I used to do it all the time, and I always lose interest. So
Okay,
I think it's think if it's a show that goes on for an hour, don't drop all at once.
okay,
Do it weekly. If it's something half an hour, I'm fine. It's a quick, easy binge. I can get through it a lot more easier.
okay. So ultimately, we're looking at rating the show. Season 1 is the strongest. Season 2 is the weakest. Season 3 kind of recovers it a little bit, but is nowhere near the quality of season 1. Would you agree? Disagree? You have a different point?
Hardcore agree. I hardcore agree. I think I definitely rewatch season one and probably have an easier time binge watching it, even though it's like nearly an hour each episode.
Yeah, I've watched season 1 like 3 times. I've not rewatched season 2 and 3, and to be fair, I don't think that I plan to be honest with you. Um, I may do right if they do a season 4, I may do right before that so I can kind of catch up, because there is so many loose plot threads, but that may not even be that necessary. I'm not even really sure, depending on how long they do a season 4. And what's your final take on, like, are you happy with where they've left it, or do you feel like you need a season 4 to kind of wrap things up?
Yeah, let's see a season four. Come on, let's really see because there's a few more loose ends here that was left, so we need to see them wrapped up. And it don't have to be 10 episodes; it can be just a few episodes, and that's it. Just keep it tight, keep it coherent, and I think it should be fun.
I would like more backstory in season 4 of Mike and what he did to wind up in prison and what happened to him while he was in prison. I would like to see possible flashbacks of Mitch. I don't really care much for this Detective Ian subplot. I don't care. I do like, Hugh Dillon, the bald guy there that plays him. He's in like literally every Tyler Sheridan project, from Yellowstone to Wind River. He's in everything. He's also one of the co-writers. I do not care though what's going on with him in this thing. I'm glad to see Iris gone. I kind of would be sad to see if Bunny becomes the main antagonist in the next season. I'd like to see a Mike McCluskey character that does things like maybe he realizes he's been doing things the wrong way and he starts to do things like how his older brother would have done. Um, I do think it's interesting. I never considered that they might have a whole subplot with Kyle being in prison. I kind of hope they don't go in that direction. That seems like, I don't know, man. I'm not sure how I'd feel about that. I don't, because it's not realistic, because cops don't go to general pop anyway. They go to segregation. So, it would have to be some really convoluted thing where he wound up not only in prison, but he wound up in the general pop having it, and that's just not realistic. And we've already seen Kyle in the prison in season 1 because he was accidentally there with Detective Ian. I don't remember what they were doing, but maybe they were going to get the weirdo out of prison again to go do another, find a dead body thing. I'm not sure what they were there for, but they wind up getting caught up in the middle of the riot at the end of season 1. So I've already seen that. I don't really want to see that again. And I don't like the thing with Robert, the SWAT team guy. I don't care about that. I'm not interested in that, and I don't want to see more of him going off the rails. I would have been happy if he's just dead after that shooting. But again, I realize that could cause problems. They may kill him in between seasons. So what would you like to see in a season 4?
Ooh, honestly, I've not really come to that conclusion at the moment. I've really not thought of that far because I've only just
Okay.
watched the third season. So yeah, I probably might get back to it in the comments once this video gets put up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, fair enough. I don't have much more to say about it. If you're asking me where I rate the show, I think we both agree where we rate the show. I think it's worth watching regardless. It's definitely one of the more interesting shows that Taylor Sheridan does. It's a big departure from a lot of his other stuff. It doesn't have all that cowboy shit, that cowboy porn that he has with Yellowstone 1923 and 1883. It's very gritty. It's very raw. And even the weakest of the episodes is still, mildly entertaining. I do feel that this season almost was branded the weakest just for the fact that there's many bottle episodes that happen in this season where kind of really nothing fucking happens. Like the plot does not move forward at all. So I really don't know what to say about that. I don't know what's going on. What I'm hoping is it did just have something to do with the writer's strike, and of course, to a greater degree, Jeremy Renner being injured. So
Yeah, writer's strike always do lead to problems. I mean, half the time they end up getting written. The scripts get written while the bloody show movie's shooting. So
yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, man. I guess we both pretty much agree on that. What do you got coming up that somebody could look for on your channel?
Oh, upcoming is the Coen Brothers classic adaptation of Kathy McCormick's No Country for Old Men with critic Al.
what what's his name? What's his name again?
Kathy McCormick, did I get the name right? I forgot now.
No.
No, I didn't. All right.
Cormac
Cormick.
McCarthy.
Cormick.
Cormac
Fucking hell. Where did
McCarthy.
I get the Mac from then?
I don't know.
Yeah, next stream is No Country for Old Men with You Toxic, of course, and Critic Al and Fandad Menace. And
Fantastic.
Inside Man, and it should be a really good one. One of the probably better Oscar winners of the 2000s, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
watch
based on
it.
an amazing novel, a novel that I happened to do my college thesis on when I was still in university, using my GI Bill. So, yeah, that'll be fun. I have a lot to say on that. Hopefully, I won't monopolize the conversation in that one. I'll try to. You'll have to kind of tone me down like Lance does, and put me in the quiet box a little bit, mute my mic or something like that. But yeah, that should be fun.
Mexicans on it. We need more Mexican, Mexican jokes, mate.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I got a bunch of those. And what time is that tomorrow on your channel?
7 p.m. GMT. That is British time. So it could be maybe 2 or 3 o'clock around your area. Who knows? It's
okay.
It should tell you the time in your area anyway because I've got it public.
Yeah. So about this time tomorrow, give or take.
Yeah, could be around about there. Yeah.
Okay. So tonight I will be doing I'll be uploading this, and then I'll be doing my Thursday Toxic rewatch. We are finally on season 3, my favorite season of Highlander, the television series with Dudicus. He and I will be getting into episode 1 and 2 of season 3, In the Line of Fire and the Samurai being my favorite episode of the series. I'm so excited for that. We had just done and uploaded Highlander, the anime movie, Search for Vengeance. That wasn't super great, but it was good to follow that anyway. And I think we're going to do that after each season of Highlander. I think we're going to do like a supplemental thing where we watch either one of the movies or one of the side quest things or whatever. I'm still trying to get Gone Girl uploaded, but just like you, I've had major issues with YouTube and maybe the studio. They will not allow me to get Gone Girl out. I may have to shift gears and just pick another book for my other show, Consider the Source, because they've shut it down 3 times now.
Yeah, I think I don't know if Leon is Where's Paradise. Leon himself is right here, but it's something to do with the studios trying to scam the fucking ad revenue. And it's like, I'm not getting any fucking ad revenue from my videos. Why are you trying? Why are you blocking me for?
I don't know. I don't know what I don't know what the I don't know what the I don't know what we're doing wrong. Um, you know, we I don't know because they don't even tell
Yeah,
me what it is that I've said or done or used wrong in it. The only thing I can think of for me is there's a I don't want to say rival because I'm definitely not rivaling her, but there's another book to movie or book to TV show adaptation thing called The Book Always Wins, where this lady reads a bunch of books and then talks about the movie or the show that they made for it. And yeah, it's one of those things where we don't know what we did wrong, but her stuff never gets stopped. And I did put a shout out to her in my description of Gone Girl. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. I don't know. I don't know if that's what's getting me messed up or what. I'm not sure. I
probably
didn't.
unlikely, but it'd be pretty stupid if that was the case.
Yeah. But like I said, I know Paramount Plus is super big on shutting down stuff, but I didn't have any volume, and I mostly use slides. So and I did use the copyright disclaimer, fair use for all of the stuff that I've shown up to this point. Obviously we had spoilers, and yep, I didn't. I should have had that before I did the spoilers, but whatever. If you're watching this, you should have known better. And yeah, Paramount, don't shut my shit down. This means you, Paramount. Stop messing with us. We're not making any money off of this. We're not going to get to the point where we can make money for you unless you let us do our little thing here. We don't mean no harm. We're just
We're
trying.
promoting the fucking thing. We're promoting your product
We're
here.
trying to help you guys. We're trying to help you. Anyways, thank you again, Northern English Bastard. Always fun streaming with you. A hole in my heart since Losers Lounge has been put on hiatus this month. Completely
It's always
understandable. Completely understandable. Our friend, the blue collar loser has to take care of some personal stuff. I totally get it. Money and family obviously comes first, but it has left kind of a sad hole in my heart without having you and Enzo and whoever else to come on and bullshit about movies and stuff. But that's totally fine. It gives us more time to do stuff like this and jump on random people's streams. And I'm
Yeah,
sure when we come back,
I need to jump on Where's a Paradise one day because he's invited me a couple of times, and I've always ended up not going in and tearing it down. And he seems
is
like a
that
good
is that Leon's
yeah,
channel?
Leon. Yeah, I need to
Okay.
need to find what his schedule is again. That's
Yeah, I'll reach out to him and see what he's got upcoming. Maybe he's got something that I might be interested. I had one if I can't get this Gone Girl thing finally done, I'm probably going to give up on it, and scrap it, and then my next thing is to talk about the boys in my Consider the Source and talk about the comic book versus the TV show. And I might try to get Leon on for that. So that might be something that I look at as far as juxtaposed between those two things. So that may wind up that's going to happen regardless, but that may wind up being the next thing if I can't get Gone Girl done in a timely fashion. But yeah, so anyways, thank you guys so much for joining us. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Hit that like button. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you thought of Mayor of Kingstown season 1 through 3. Where you'd like to see the show going in the future. Please jump over to Northern English Bastards channel. He's got some really, really good stuff over there. He's a much better YouTuber than I am. Has some great funny quips and clips and comments on his stuff, the ones that haven't been shut down by the demons in charge of YouTube. Yeah, tune in tomorrow for his channel when he talks about No Country for Old Men, the movie. And yeah, that's going to effectively kind of shut down my Consider the Source for that, because everything I'm going to say on the show tomorrow is probably what I would do for the book versus movie review, but that's okay.
do it
Uh,
both, do both. Because I mean,
Maybe, yeah, maybe I will. Maybe I'll knock it out tonight, and then you can give me a shout out for it on your show tomorrow. Maybe that would be a thing.
I would
That might
happily
be,
do that because it gives me something to help promote the other channels that I have on, and yeah, it's a good way
yeah.
of helping out as well.
Yeah, I always like being on there with Critical Alan. Again, man, I know we went a little bit over time. I wanted to keep this under an hour like I do most of my stuff, but I think we did have a lot to say. Thank you for your opinions on it. Thank you for binging this so quickly so you could jump on it. I don't know anybody else that's watching the show. If you're not watching the show, well, I don't know why you'd be here, but people definitely should be. It's definitely something that I think is a worthy show to get into. Season 1 is the strongest, but go ahead and subscribe to Northern English Bastards channel. Tune in tomorrow when we discuss No Country for Old Men. And until then, thank you for being toxic, everybody.
Riding on the wings of destruction, a toxic presence, a lord of corruption, polluting the ocean, spreading decay, the tops turning black, gnawing the vein, searing through the sand.
I've got balls of steel.